We want to verify people's IDs when they send in mail-in ballots. What is the objection to it? What is the election about?
Well, they're saying that there's no evidence of any non-citizens voting where it's swayed the outcome of an election. I mean, even the Heritage Foundation looked this up and said they only found 100 instances of non-citizen voter fraud since the year 2000. That's out of 1.5 billion ballots that were cast.
So what are you afraid of? What are Democrats afraid of?
Well, it's not me. I'm not a lawmaker voting on it. I think the question is,
but you're making the argument. You're making their argument, which is your job. But again, 70% of Democrats, 80% of Americans want voter ID. And if they want to debate some of these other issues about absentee ballots, about proof of citizenship, let's debate it. But have you heard one Democrat say, a Democrat senator say, I want voter ID, that I want to make sure that our elections have integrity, that it's so important? Instead, they just throw up their hands at everything. So why don't they come to the table, come across the table, across the aisle, and let's make our elections have more integrity?
Trump has said that if Congress can't send him the Save America Act to his desk, then he's not going to sign anything else into law. Is this the end of legislating for this cycle as we know it?
No, it's not. And I'll talk with him about that. We'll work with him, as you know, under the Constitution. If legislation was sent to the president's desk and didn't sign it for 10 days, it would become law automatically. So, but I understand what he's trying to emphasize, the importance of this priority, how critical it is to not just to him, but to the American people and to all of us. And so it takes no convincing among House Republicans to agree to that priority. But I think he wants to send a signal to the Senate in particular that he's very serious about this, and I think the signal's been received.
If you get this, your midterms, and they know it. For two reasons. Number one, they won't be able to cheat. And number two, the people are demanding it. Every time I go out, Save America, sir, Save America Act. We want the Save America Act, sir. That's all they talk about. They don't talk about housing. They don't talk about anything. That's what they talk about. And if you send it up that you're going to win the midterms at levels that you can't even believe, and you're going to win every election for a long time until somebody really screws things up, and hopefully that won't happen.
Is Senator Thune listening to you when you say you want to pass the Save America Act? He says there aren't the votes to do it right now. What's your response?
Well, he's got to be a leader, you know? If he's a leader, he's got to get him. It's the most popular bill I've ever seen put before Congress. And it's voter ID, and it's voter. You have to be able to be a citizen to vote. It's called citizenship. And we're also adding in no men playing in women's sports, no transgender mutilization of our children, and no mail-in ballots, fake mail-in ballots. We have none of that, except in the case of the military, etc.
I don't understand how it could disenfranchise millions of Americans, and maybe he would explain.
I'm happy to. Thank you for that question, because I think all of us should be aware of the fact of what is required by this act when it comes to registering to vote. You have to present identification, correct? But your driver's license, which most people use in the course of business every single day, is not acceptable. What is acceptable is a passport. 50% of Americans do not have a passport. Those who want to obtain it so they can vote will pay $186 and wait 3 or 4 weeks for that to happen. Secondly, you can use a birth certificate. But any person who has changed their name as a result of a marriage or a hyphenated relationship has to find not only their birth certificate, but some correction of it to prove that they're eligible to register to vote. It's estimated that 9% of the voters in America do not have the identification required by this bill. It means ultimately that those people will not be voting. And I think that is the ultimate goal of this administration.
One last question. Those are all matters that could be addressed by amendments to the bill itself if we get on the bill, correct?
When's the last time we amended a bill?
I understand you're about to get married. You got a fiance. So address the criticism that for women with last name, how's it going to work with her when she wants to vote?
Yeah, we're 5 weeks away from getting married. We were actually talking about this yesterday. Yeah. She's going to move to the state of Wisconsin and change her last name, just like millions of Americans have done. The process for this is straightforward and simple in every single state. The legislation accommodates for that every state is going to have a slightly different process because marriage certificates may look a little bit different, but it'll look a lot like if an individual wanted to go and sell their car. you had a different name than was on your car, there's a simple, straightforward process for that. Every state will do that. It's an easy process. Again, this is a common sense bill that provides us election integrity to make sure that non-citizens aren't voting in U.S. elections.
If it feels like Donald Trump is desperate to cheat in the midterm elections, it's because Donald Trump is desperate to cheat in the midterm elections because he knows what it means if the Republicans get slaughtered like it's looking like they're going to get. Well, you know, because Donald Trump is an idiot, he telegraphs everything that he's going to do. But we also can go off of history, the fact that he literally committed treason on live television in front of the whole world in 2020. And of course, he's been going around raiding election offices. He did this in Georgia, he did this in Arizona, but nothing to see here when it comes to 2024 because, of course, that's when he won. He goes on TV and he says, well, you know, normally whatever president wins in the midterms, they typically lose. I don't know why that is, but we're going to try to change that. Caroline Leavitt has talked about having ICE agents at the polls so they could target black and brown people. He's talked about nationalizing the elections, the situation in Iran that's completely out of control and really we're unable to win that. He's using that as an excuse to raid elections and nationalize everything and call it off. Remember when Zelensky came to his office, he was like, you know, with the war going on, they can't have elections, right? Oh, I don't know. That gives me kind of a good idea. He can't help himself. But again, he already has done this. So at the end of the day, Republicans are losing popularity because Donald Trump's presidency is a complete shit show. That's why, I mean, with the tariffs, prices are going up. And now with the war, gas prices are climbing. That's not going to change anytime soon. Farmers are looking like they're going to need a bailout because of the fertilizer situation. He claims that he's ended 8 wars, but in reality, he's bombed 8 countries. And now, he actually, a couple of weeks ago, he did boots on the ground in Ecuador, and it's looking like we're probably going to have boots on the ground in Iran because with the decentralization of power there and now Mojtaba Khamenei replacing his father, that's not who Israel wants in charge. And so in order for us to do real regime change, we're going to have to put boots on the ground. This situation's completely out of control. Donald Trump knows it, and he knows what it means if and when the Republicans get completely wiped out in the midterms. But again, he absolutely can't help himself but to telegraph what he's going to do, so all of us should be prepared.